Hello, students. Today we are going to start Chapter 1 Tracing Changes in the Medieval Period. This is your history chapter. Introduction. The medieval period stretches from 8th to 18th century. Means the medieval period is from your 8th to 18th century. The word medieval, it comes from a Latin word meaning middle. So what is the meaning of medieval? Middle. In history, we generally refer to it as the period between the ancient and the modern periods. Ancient means a time that existed, means a very long time ago. Period that used to exist a very long time ago. That is the meaning of ancient. So, the medieval is the period between your ancient and the modern period. During this period, India witnessed many economic, political, religious, cultural changes in the society. So, during this medieval period, India witnessed the economic, political, religious, and cultural change. This period also saw progress in art and architecture. Okay, this period also saw the progress in the art and the architecture of India. The medieval period can be divided into two periods. It is being divided into two periods, the early medieval period and the late medieval period. The early medieval period stretches from the 8th to 13th century. So your early medieval period, it stretches from 8th to 13th century. It includes the rule of Palas, Pratihars, Rashtrakutas, Cholas and the Rajputs. These were the rulers at the early medieval period, means from 8th to 13th century. The late medieval period stretched from 13th to 18th century. Early from 8th to 13th century, late medieval period from 13th to 18th century. It includes the rule of the Turks, Afghans, and the Mughals. In the middle of the 19th century, British historians divided the history of India into three periods. During the 19th century, means middle of the 19th century, British historians, what they did, they divided the India history into three periods: the Hindus, the Muslim, and British. This division was based on the idea that the religion of ruler was the important historical factor. So why they divided the periods into Hindu, Muslim and British? Because the religion of the ruler was important historical factor at that time. They were ignoring the significant developments in the society, economic and cultural development. Okay, they just divided the society when the religion of the ruler was done. This was the important historical factor. The idea behind dividing into these three periods was the religion of the ruler. Okay, they were ignoring all the important development in the society, economic, and culture. And this division, what Britishers did, this was erroneous. Erroneous means it was wrong, it was incorrect. This is a timeline of the ancient India. 4 lakh BC to 2500 BC was your Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, Neolithic age, and the age in the subcontinent. 2500 BC to 1500 BC was the age of Indus Valley civilization. 1500 BC to 1000 BC was your Vedic age. 322 BC to 185 BC was your Mauryan dynasty, Chandragupta Maurya. 185 BC to 320 AD, Greek invasion, Greek invaded. 320 AD to 520 AD was your Gupta era, Gupta period. 606 AD to 647 AD, Harshvardhan era. 9th century AD to 13th century AD was your Chola Empire. and 648 AD to 1000 AD was your Rashtrakutas, Palas, Pratihas. They established their empire in India. These periods you have studied in your 6th grades. Your this Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic age, your Indus Valley civilization, Vedic age, Mauryan dynasty, Greek invasion, Gupta era, Harshvardhan era, Chola empire. This we are in this chapter we are talking about Rashtrakutas, Palas, Pratihars. They established their empire in India. Old and new terminologies. India was known in the past as Bharatvarsha. What was the name? Bharatvarsha, the land of Bharatas. The Muslim during the medieval period called the subcontinent Hindustan. So the Muslim during the medieval period they used to call India Hindustan. Means they refer to the people as Hindus. India was known as Bharatvarsha, the land of Bharatas. Medieval period Muslims they used to call this subcontinent Hindustan because they referred to as the people of means the people of India as Hindus. Hindu here literally meant a native of Hindustan. Native means one born in a particular place. So it had no religious connotations as we understand it in today. The word connotation here generally means feeling of the person, means the emotion of the person by the word or the phrase. So the Hindustan word has no religious connotation, it has no religious meaning as we understand it today. In the early 16th century, Babur used to term the Hindustan to describe the flora, means the plants, fauna, animals, and culture of the inhabitants living in the subcontinent. They used to call it Hindustan, Babur used to call it Hindustan to describe its flora, fauna, and culture of the inhabitants. Inhabitants means that occupies a particular place, means person who is occupying a particular place. They are living in this subcontinent. So the name India was first used by the Persians for the region watered by the river Indus. The Persians call it India. Hindustan called India. So why they called India? Because these was watered by the river Indus. The Greeks, who referred to river Sindhu as Indus, subsequently borrowed the term from the Persians. So in this we have read about that India was known as Bharatvarsha, land of Bharatas. Muslims they used to call Hindustan, the subcontinent Hindustan, because the people they used to refer the people as Hindus. Hindu here literally means the people of Hindustan, the people who are living in Hindustan. It had no religious connotation, no religious meaning, okay, as we understand it today. In early 16th century, Babur, he used the term Hindustan to describe the flora, fauna, and culture of the people who are living in the subcontinent. Inhabitants means the people who are living in a particular place. The name India, it was first used by the Persians for the region watered by the river Indus because mainly the river Indus watered that region. So the Persians called name means the Persian called the subcontinent India. The Greek, they referred river Sindhu as Indus and they borrowed the term from the Persians. They borrowed this term, the Greeks borrowed this term from the Persians. Social and political changes. This was a period between AD 700 to 750. It witnessed a large scale developments. What were the large scale developments? New technology made their appearance at that time. What new technologies invented like the Persian wheel in irrigation, spinning wheel in weaving, and firearms in combat. So what happened here? The new technologies, the Persian wheel. Actually, Persian wheel was a water lifting device. It used to be operated by the animals and used to lift the waters from the open wells. This was your Persian wheel that is being used for irrigation. So, the period AD 700 to 750, witnessed a large-scale developments. New technologies made their appearance like the Persian wheel. Persian wheel, if I talk about water lifting device that is operated by animals and used to lift water from the open wells. Spinning wheel is used in weaving for the weaving of the clothes. Firearms were used in combat. Okay, as a defensive thing, firearms were used at that time for defense purpose. New foods and beverages such as potatoes, corn, chilies, tea and coffee arrived in the subcontinent. So these were the food: potatoes, corn and chilies. Tea, coffee were the beverages arrived in the subcontinent. This was period of great mobility, means people used to move from one place to another. People traveled long distance in search of opportunities. So people, they used to travel a very long distance in search of opportunities. Throughout this period, forests were being cleared for extension of agriculture. Means at this period also, this time also, cutting downs of the forest were going on to extend the agriculture, to make that forest land as an agricultural land. Many forest dwellers, they were forced to migrate. Means forest dwellers means a person who were living there, means trees were growing here, plants, they are covering a very large area. They were forced that the people used to migrate from that place because forests are being destroyed. Others tilled the land and become peasants. Tilled means they start preparing the land for the cultivation. Many forest dwellers, they migrated. Other tilled the land, means they are preparing the land for the cultivation. They become peasants, farmers. These peasants were influenced by chieftains, priests, temples, and monasteries. They were very much influenced by chieftains, priests, temples, and monasteries. Chieftain generally means the leader of the peasants. Priest, the priest, saints, temples. Monasteries are the buildings that are occupied by the monks. Monks are the people who are following the Buddhist religion. They are living under religious vows, means religious promise. They are living under these monasteries. This is your Persian wheel that is used to draw water from the wells. This is your spinning wheel. This is thread and they used to make the cloth outfit. Social and political changes. There were required to pay taxes, offer goods and services to local landlords. This resulted in social differences among peasants. So what happened at that time? These peasants, they were influenced by the chieftains, means the leaders, the priests, the temples and the monasteries. So they pay the taxes for the goods and services to local landlords. They have to pay the taxes. So there were social differences between peasants and the landlords. As society, they become differentiated, means division of the society was going on. The people were divided into subcaste, or we call it jatis. In Hindi we call it jatis and in English we call it subcaste. They were ranked on the basis of their background, means what occupation they are doing. They were ranked according to that. Ranks were not fixed permanently, but it changed, means it varied on the basis of the power the person has, the influence the person has, or the resources that are controlled by the member of the jati. So at that time also, the peasants and landlords, local landlords, they were having differences because peasants have to pay taxes to them for the goods and services they are offering. So society become differentiated. Division of the society took place into jatis and subcaste. They were ranked according to their backgrounds, means according to their occupation they are doing. These were not permanent. Ranks were not permanent. It were based on the power they are having, influence they are having, and the resources controlled by the jati members. The status of the same jati could also vary from area to area, means their status also, it changed from area to area. Jati framed their own rules and regulations. Means Jati's people, they framed their own rules and regulations. These rules were enforced by the Jati Panchayat. So one Jati Panchayat was also there. They used to enforce these rules on the Jati people, on the subcaste people. Major development. One group of people who become important in this period were the Rajputs. A name derived from the Rajaputra means the son of a ruler. Between your 18th and the 14th century, the term was applied generally to a group of warriors. Okay, at that time, this term 18 to 14 means 8 to 14th century. This term was applied to group of warriors. They call them Kshatriyas, caste status. So, one group of people who become very important during this period name was Rajputs. So, a name derived from Rajaputra means the son of a ruler. 8th to 14th century. 8th to 14th century, the term was applied generally to a group of warriors. These warriors claimed them as a Kshatriya caste status. The term included not just the rulers and the chieftains, but also soldiers and commanders who served in the armies of various kings. Means they were not just the rulers or they were not just the leaders, they were the soldiers. Kshatriyas were the soldiers and the commanders who served in the armies of various kings. Extreme valor and a great sense of loyalty. So these people, they were of great courage, means they can face the danger. Valor means they have a great courage and they can face the danger, especially in battle. They have a great sense of loyalty. These were the main features, means the main attributes of the Rajputs. Other groups such as Marathas, Sikh, Jats, Ahoms, and Kayasthas means a caste of scribes and secretaries also became politically significant at that time. So here we are talking about Kshatriyas means the Rajputs. They were of extreme valor. Valor means courage they are having. And they were of extreme loyalty. These were the main features of the Rajputs. Other groups were also there: Marathas, Sikhs, Jats, Ahom, Kayasthas. These were a caste of scribes and secretaries. Scribe means a person who copies out the document. Okay, he copies out the document. So they also became politically significant, politically important at this time. The period after the death of Harshvardhana, when the Harshvardhana died, came to be known as Rajput period. So after the death of Harshvardhana, that period is known to be as Rajput period. During this period, there were several powerful ruling dynasties such as the Pratihars, Chauhans, Chandelas, Parmars, Solankis, Tomars, and Guhilas. These were the main powerful ruling dynasties during this period. Tomars, they built city of Delhi. Pratihars, they ruled Rajasthan and parts of central India. Solankis, they ruled the region of Kathiawar. Kathiawar is in Gujarat. The Chandelas ruled around the Bundelkhand. Major part of the Bundelkhand is in Madhya Pradesh. The Chauhans, they ruled over the central Rajasthan. So Tomars, Delhi, they built city of Delhi. Pratihars, they ruled Rajasthan and central India. Solanki, Kathiawar, which is in Gujarat. Chandelas, Bundelkhand, major part of Bundelkhand is in Madhya Pradesh. Chauhans, central Rajasthan. So these Rajput clans were constantly at war with one another. They were constantly doing war with one another also. This enabled the Turks to embark on their campaign. What is the meaning of embark? To go on their campaign against the Rajputs. The defeat of Prithviraj Chauhan. He was a Rajput king. When the Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated at the hands of Muhammad Ghori, is the Second Battle of Tarain, brought India under the rule of the slave dynasty. So they are saying these Rajput clans, they were constantly at war with one another, and this enabled the Turks to go on their campaign against the Rajputs. And when the Prithviraj Chauhan, means a Rajput king, he was defeated by the Muhammad Ghori in the second battle of Tarain, 1192 AD, brought India under the rule of the slave dynasty. So when Prithviraj Chauhan defeated by Muhammad Ghori in the second battle of Tarain, 1192 AD, so it brought India under the rule of the slave dynasty. After the slave dynasty fallen, the Khaljis, Tughlaqs, Sayyids and Lodhis came to power. The last Lodhi ruler, Ibrahim Lodhi, was killed by Babur in the first battle of Panipat. So the last Lodhi ruler, Ibrahim Lodhi, he was killed by Babur in the first battle of Panipat, 1526. So it is a timeline of the medieval period. See, the Turkish invasion from 1000 AD to 1206 AD. Then we have talked about the slave dynasty, 1206 AD to 1290 AD. Then Khiljis, 1290 AD to 1320 AD. Then your Tughlaqs, 1320 AD to 1412 AD. Then came your Sayyids and Lodhi Sultan, 1440 AD to 1526 AD. Then Vijayanagara Empire, 1336 AD to 1565 AD. Then Bahmani Kingdom, 1346 AD to 1689 AD. Mughal Dynasty, 1526 AD to 1857 AD. And the last was your Great Marathas. That was 1674 AD to 1819 AD. So this is the brief timeline which is going like this of the medieval India. We have talked about Turks, we have talked about slave dynasty, Khiljis, Tughlaqs, Sayyids, Vijayanagar, Bahmani, Mughals and Great Marathas. So we will talk about them further in the chapter. Delhi now had a new ruler. Name was Babur. He laid the foundation of Mughal Empire in India. Babur laid the foundation of Mughal Empire in India. Babur's son was Humayun. Who was Babur's son? Humayun. He was defeated by Sher Shah, an Afghan chief, but later on he gained his empire. So Babur, he laid down the foundation of Mughal Empire. Babur's son was Humayun. He was defeated by Sher Shah. He was an Afghan chief, but later on he gained his empire. But it was his grandson, then his grandson Akbar. He consolidated and extended the Mughal Empire. Consolidated means he made the kingdom more stronger and extended the empire over the whole of the North India and the parts of the South India. Akbar. Jahangir who succeeded Akbar, was a man of refined taste and an able ruler. Jahangir, he was succeeded Akbar and he was man of very refined taste and he was very good ruler, able ruler. He was followed by Shah Jahan, who was a patron of art and architecture. Shah Jahan was very fond of art and architecture. His successor Aurangzeb, Shah Jahan's successor Aurangzeb, was an able administrator. He was doing all the administration work, Aurangzeb. But his virtues means good moral values, these were overshadowed. Overshadowed means these were not very impressive because his good moral values was fixed. It was based on fixed, rigid means fixed, and strict doctrines. Doctrines means principles. But his virtues means moral values, these were overshadowed. These were not very impressive because his principles, his doctrines were very rigid, it was fixed and it was very strict. The Mughal Empire declined slowly after the death of Aurangzeb. The successor of Aurangzeb were very weak. They were inefficient and corrupt. So, after the death of Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire declined slowly, and the successors who came after Aurangzeb, they were very weak, they were inefficient, they were corrupt. Due to the weakness of the empire, Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali plundered Delhi. They take the Delhi by force and left it in ruins. Means they collapsed, they destructed it. As a result, a number of provinces broke away from the empire. So they are saying because Aurangzeb's successor was not very much good, they were inefficient, corrupt, and weak. So Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali, they take the force, means take the control of Delhi by force and left it in ruins. Ruins means they caused the destruction of Delhi. As a result, the number of provinces it broke away from the Mughal Empire. Many provinces it broke away from the Mughal Empire. You know, in this period also different languages were spoken in different regions like Sindhi, Lahori, Kashmiri, Dav Samudri in South Karnataka, Telangani in Andhra, Gujari in Gujarat, Mabari in Tamil Nadu, Gauri in Bengal, Avdhi in Uttar Pradesh, Hindavi, it was around Delhi. So these were the languages spoken at that time. So the above information which I told you about the different kinds of language, these were given by famous poet Amir Khusrau. In 1318, he gave this information about different kinds of language which are spoken. Sanskrit did not belong to any region, and Brahmins spoke Sanskrit only. Thank you and have a nice day.